All I heard was that this was like film of the year. Oh my goodness, incredulous. And then within 5 minutes, I was watching Sean Penn being led around like a dog with a full erection and a character called Jungle Pussy. What happened here?
For me, sing for me.
Yo, say it. Say it, baby.
Love you, Bob.
Love you too.
Freedom, freedom, I can't move.
Okay, so Paul Thomas Anderson is that guy who really pumps to the beat of his own drum, if you know what I mean. And Leonardo DiCaprio decided to take a break from living in Martin Scorsese's attic, so they decided to come together and make a film that is a mixture of Paul Thomas Anderson's traditional style with this whole thing about revolutionaries and driving around in the desert a lot and immigration. Boy, it is a whole thing. One Battle After Another stars Leonardo DiCaprio as kind of a loser who joins up with a revolutionary terrorist group called the French 75 who work to free immigrants from detention centers and also rob banks. And, you know, it's not entirely clear what their motives were, what their goals were, but they just did a lot of stuff. And then that ends with his girlfriend betraying him to Sean Penn because she likes to lead him around like a dog, and there's a whole thing going on there. And then she becomes a rat, vanishes, does not actually appear in the rest of the film. And from then, Leonardo DiCaprio has to go into hiding with his daughter and raise her by himself while just getting coked out of his mind. Like, just drugs himself hard for 15 years, becomes uber loser. You've probably seen the trailer and images of him running around in the bathrobe. That's the whole film. He doesn't take it off. So Sean Penn comes back, nasty man, trying to join this uber white society of Christmas people. Trust me, it makes more sense if you've actually seen the film. Not a lot more, but a little bit more. And he tries to come back and bury his dirty little secrets, which means Leo's daughter gets kidnapped, and he has to go all... I mean, the equivalent... His character is the equivalent of if Liam Neeson answered the phone in Taken, but instead of being like, "You have my daughter," he was like, "What that?" Like, that's what Leonardo DiCaprio's character in this is. He is just loser. But because everyone considers him this legend for being in this revolutionary group, he just gets away with it. And gets carried. Not in acting terms, he's hilarious, but... as a character throughout this whole, like, war zone, he gets carried. And I will say that it's very much not what I expected. I heard a lot about how much action there is in this. I wouldn't call it an action film, like, even remotely. I would call it a straight-up thriller. I don't think it fits any other character. I mean, kind of comedy at times. But overall, it is just a thriller film. It's very long. It is almost 3 hours. But the movement, it runs that time down. It needed every inch of it, honestly. And I don't often really find myself agreeing with that when it's like near 3 hours or over. But this film moves so fast, so consistently. It doesn't obey the thriller rules of having a big sequence and then taking a break and calming down. It doesn't do that. It just runs flat out the entire time. The relevance of its take on authoritarianism is fascinating, but at the same time, it's so silly and funny. Leonardo's character is never once considered a badass, a strong male lead, anything other than at first a bumbling fool running around in love, and then a bumbling dad running around trying to find his daughter. He feels at so many things in this film. When he falls, just straight up falls off the building. Oh, it's gold. It's really funny. It's really relevant to the modern world, and it's just really impressive. I mean, the music is something that I haven't, talked about. It's nuts the way that it just kind of matches everything. That it just kind of suddenly stops at these comedic moments. It can stop for these dramatic effects, and the way it just keeps on rolling. It makes you feel like you're in this kind of electric, orchestral, crazy thing. It is this bullet train that just does not stop moving. It's very impressive. I do feel this vague sense... and it's probably just down to... I feel this vague sense of disappointment. It is probably just down to the fact that I went in with huge expectations. Everyone was talking about how this was the film of the year, one of the best films in years, that kind of thing. And I've come out of it like, yeah, this was really impressive, but it is a long film. It's kind of bizarre and kooky. I think I love it, and I think there's a good chance I'll love it more in the future as I see it more times. But coming out of it, I do feel a vague, slight sense of disappointment. It's definitely in my top 10 films of the year. It's not number 1, you know? That's where I'm at. I found something similar in Sinners this year, where I went into a massive release with huge expectations and came away just slightly disappointed. But I have watched Sinners again since and gone, no, I mean, it is this epic, incredible, fascinating thing to watch. And in both cases, both those films feel unfathomably unique for our modern day. You don't find films often that are that different just to everything else that's coming out. I mean, this was It manages to mix a lot of genres. It manages to subvert everything you expect from a Leonardo DiCaprio role. It manages to be a Paul Thomas Anderson film. It does feel like one, and it's my favorite of his, I think, to date. Although I've probably only seen about half of them. It just feels like this thing that I'm not going to complain, put it that way, if it wins Best Picture at the Oscars. It is that level. It is that good, and it is that fascinating to watch. So I'm giving this as pretty much just Baby Girl if it happened in reverse. 4.5 stars. As in, like, it happened to a guy. You know what I mean? Like, if Nicole Kidman's character was instead Sean Penn's character, like, this is the kind of war that a man would unleash upon a woman who, yeah, like that. It doesn't make sense.